I realize the title's a little over the top, but you know what? Posture's not all that exciting, and I needed some way to grab your attention. Even though it's not exciting, it's extremely important. So watch the video and enjoy. God bless.
Our next topic is something very important, very simple, something your mom and dad probably told you your whole life. And that is stand up straight, sit up straight, good posture. And everybody always readjusts their posture when I tell them that. Here's the deal about posture. It is vitally important because bad posture over time is going to affect the function of the joints in your spine, which is going to put pressure on your nervous system. You know, we've talked about this before, vitally important. So let's talk about posture in the three areas: standing, sitting, laying down. Okay? First, standing. If you look at somebody's posture, you want to check somebody's posture in your family, or even you can do it in the mirror or have somebody look at you. First thing you look at is looking at them front to back like this. Head should be on straight ideally. Shoulders should be level. Pelvis should be level. Okay? Now for years I carried a very heavy book pack through school on one shoulder. Can you see what that did to my shoulder? I don't know if you can see it on camera, but my right shoulder is probably 1.5 inches lower than my left because I didn't know about backpacks. I carried a duffel bag full of books. Okay? Today with kids, backpacks and backpack health is very, very important. You have it evenly distributed so it doesn't pull your posture over time, because with kids this is the way they'll grow if that's the way they wear their backpack. So good posture, standing, head straight, shoulder straight, pelvis straight. Now you look at somebody from the side, this is what you look for. Their ear, shoulder, hip, knee, and ankle should all be lined up on a plumb line. Okay, that's good posture. So if we're looking this way, ear, shoulder, hip, knee. Does that make sense? That's how you can tell. What you'll see is you'll see head forward, you'll see shoulders rolled, you'll see sway backs, high pelvis, low pelvis. These are things that are extremely common. And now they're doing more and more studies with this head forward posture. They're estimating that it takes 10 to 12 years off a person's life because of the pressure it puts on the lower nerves in the neck that are controlling, remember from our last video, the heart and lungs. So that head forward, the further forward it is, the more years it takes off your life. So these people with the bowed back and their head forward, extremely unhealthy. So standing up straight with good posture is vitally important for longevity and just staying healthy. Now, poor posture though is not just simply bad habits. There's a reason people get bad posture, and it's usually an irritation to the nerves. You see? So you tell the average person that has bad posture, you go, sit up straight, and they sit up straight. But within probably 5 to 10 minutes, if even that, they start getting this burning, irritating pain in their back, and it doesn't feel good, so they do this to get the pressure off. That feels better. The trouble is this, you know, here's normal, here's 30 years old, here's 40 years old, not even that, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, and you see the people just bend over and they get like that. Totally preventable. How would you think you might prevent that? Good posture and stretching. Right? Okay. So you got to work at that posture, but if you've got that irritation in there and it's uncomfortable for you to sit up, there's something wrong, and that's a chiropractic problem. The chiropractor's job is to remove that irritation back there so that when you sit and you stand, it feels comfortable. Because believe it or not, it takes less energy for me to stand up with good posture than it does to do this. It takes more energy to be like this. I like to use an analogy here. Imagine in your mind we had a broomstick. We set this broomstick right on the floor here. And on top of the broomstick, we take this big heavy bowling ball and we screw it on the top of the broomstick. Okay, so you got it in your mind, bowling ball, broomstick sitting on the ground. Now if I keep the ball right over the stick, I could probably balance it with just 2 fingers, couldn't I? Not much work, as long as we keep it balanced, right? What if I tilted about 30 degrees? Could I still hold it with 2 fingers? What if I tilted it 45 degrees? Still 2 fingers? Maybe for a little while, right? What if I had to do it for an hour?
Probably not.
Not a chance. You could use 2 hands. How long could you hold it? See, the more, if the weight's going into the bowling ball, into the broomstick, and into the floor, very little work to maintain that. As soon as you get off, off balance, it takes a lot of work. Well, now I want you to, instead of a bowling ball, think of a head. Instead of the broomstick, I want you to think of your spine. So when you're seated, and your muscles, and you've got good posture, muscles are working properly, all the muscles have to do is just maintain balance, like that bowling ball. As soon as you're bent forward, like you're at a keyboard, or you're driving, or you're sitting on the couch watching TV, these muscles in the upper back are all tight trying to hold you in that position. day after day, month after month, year after year, what do you think happens to those muscles? Extremely tight, knotted. Oh, I've always got this tension up here. You see how one thing leads to another? Then you start compressing the nerves control your breathing and your heart. It's a downward spiral. We don't want that to happen. So good posture standing, head straight, shoulders straight, pelvis straight. Now if you're working at a counter, what do most people do? Bend over, they're doing this, right? Or they brush their teeth like this. Let me give you something you can try that's take a little bit of work, but it's actually going to give you very strong glutes. So you're going to have good posture, and you're going to get Dr. Pierce's buns of steel guaranteed, okay? So this is what you do. Instead of bending over like working, at a counter or a workbench or anything like that, try to keep your upper back straight and just do like a little squat like this and work. Now if I got tired doing this, what could I do? You're right. I could switch over to this side and work this way a little while. Upper back, neck, everything is good posture, and I'm getting a good work on my muscles and my glutes. Very easily done, you see, rather than do this. Does that make sense? Simple modification, but over time, huge difference in the way you're going to develop and grow old. Okay, simple. Now, seated posture, car, couch, desk, same basic rules apply. I don't know if you can see me here. Let me sit down. Let's talk about car first. Whoops. So let's talk about seated posture like in the car. Once again, you want your head, shoulder, hip to be lined up. Now how many chairs that you know give you support like this? Next to none. You see? That's why when we have office chairs, we have all those adjustments. You want to adjust your lumbar support in so you have a nice curve in your low back and it supports you here. You see? Otherwise, what happens is you're working, you let your low back flatten out against the chair. You see what happens to my head? I'm looking up. All these muscles kick in. At the end of the day, you are wiped out and tired because you've been holding your bowling ball up all day long instead of letting the weight go into your spine and into the chair the way it was designed. Okay? As long as we're talking about like workstations and seats, let's talk about just a quick keyboard setup for your computer. Good posture, head over your shoulders, shoulders over your pelvis, good lumbar support. Keyboard, if you relax your arms and you bend at the elbows, that's where your keyboard should be. Not out here, not out here. Relax, bend at the elbows, that's where it should be. Ideally, you want a wrist support on your keyboard too. So all you're really doing is this is all supported and you're just doing your work. Mouse, same thing. Instead of having it up here and doing this, you want it in close, just right off your keyboard. And actually, if you can use a trackball, I suggest using a trackball, because then the weight of your arm is actually on like a pad supported, and all you're doing is some fine manipulation. What's really hard on your body, and especially the nerves that go down your arm, is when you have this tension all the way up into your neck and you're doing this fine manipulation over time. It's very stressful, and it causes a lot of damage. You've probably heard of things like carpal tunnel syndrome or trigger finger. These are problems with the canals where the nerves and the tendons pass through. That repetitive motion over time causes damage and big trouble. You see? Once again, mechanically speaking, chiropractic can really help with this. So that's why before you go and do anything like surgery, get a chiropractic checkup. It's absolutely vital. Okay? So, there's your keyboard. Where should your monitor be? Right, eye level. It's not that hard. You need to have it close enough that you can see it. If you can't see it the way it's set up, you can have a special set of glasses made up so that the glasses will focus on the screen no matter where it's at. Because you don't want to be doing this and leaning into your computer, especially over time. It's going to kill you. And literally, it'll shorten your life, so you don't want to do it. So, monitor right in front of you, chair supported, keyboard here, mouse here. I've done ergonomic studies at many, many companies, and you wouldn't believe the workstations I've seen over time. The poor lady's sitting like this, keyboard's over here, monitor's over there, she's holding the phone on her neck over here, talking to a client like this. She goes, yeah, I get terrible headaches. I don't understand why. She does that 8 hours a day. She's been doing it for 10 years. Ruin you. You see? You got to get everything lined up symmetrical. It makes a big difference over time. Couch, sitting at home. How many couches have a lumbar support? None of them, right? Take one of your cushions, mold it into a lumbar support. Or something that's excellent, this one's kind of small, but you take a towel and you roll it up into a cylinder, snap a couple rubber bands around it. It's a great tool. Now, these tools are handy, aren't they? You put it as your low back support. And depending on what cushion you're sitting at, probably about this big around. And you make it firm so it gives you that arch in your low back. Simple towel. And this is actually a really good one, better than a lot of commercial cushions because it's adjustable. You can make it as big or as small as you need it. If you're ever sitting at a conference or a seminar, grab one of the maid's carts and grab a towel off of it because the chairs at those seminars are terrible. And at the end of the day, you're going to feel pretty rough. So seated posture. Now, lying down posture. How many people here sleep on their backs? Good. How many people sleep on their sides? Good. How many people sleep face down? Bad. Oh. Back is best. Back is best. Side is pretty good. Face down is bad. And the reason face down is bad is we don't really truly lie face down, do we? Nope. If you're going to sleep, you got to breathe. So what do you do with your head? Ah, that's better. So the whole time you're lying face down with your head turned like this, the ligaments on one side are being stretched and they're getting longer. The ligaments on the other side are slack. So remember what ligaments do that aren't being stretched? They're getting shorter. So that nice normal curve you get in your neck starts to straighten out. And then it affects your posture. And then it affects the nerves in your neck. That affects your heart, your lungs, your breathing, your arms, and everything else. You see? And what happens is people, they figure it out pretty quickly is, I've been sleeping like this for so long, if I try to turn my head this way, ooh, that doesn't feel good at all. So then they always sleep on the same side, or most of the time it's on the same side. Because this way it just doesn't feel good anymore, because the ligaments have all tightened down. So if you're lying on your side or face down in bed, and you go this way, and it feels different than this way, that's a problem. You see? And ideally they should be nice and mobile both ways. And you can fix that by posture, stretching, and of course getting your spine checked by a chiropractor. Absolutely vital to your good health. Okay? People ask me about mattresses. Mattresses is there's a lot of personal preference there. Ideally, or generally speaking, I would say firm and flat. But everybody's a little bit different. When you go to a mattress store, you can lie on 10 different mattresses. They're all going to feel pretty good because they're all brand new, and you're only there for a few minutes. The hard part is, 6 months later or a year later, the difference between a very expensive mattress and a very inexpensive mattress isn't usually the way they feel in the showroom. They both feel pretty good. But a cheap mattress in a very short amount of time is going to do what? It's going to start giving you the dips and valleys and won't give you the proper support. As far as mattresses go, the number bed, I've heard very good, I don't mean to give anybody a plug, but I've heard very good response back from my patients on that. Also the Tempur-Pedic, very expensive, but good feedback on that. My recommendation is to get a conventional mattress, middle of the road, not very expensive, not really cheap, and then turn it over every few years. I mean, replace it, not just flip it over, but replace it every few years. And that's probably the most economical, and that's going to keep you in great shape. You go out and you spend $2,000 on a mattress and you hate it, and it's guaranteed for 25 years. You're going to hate it for 25 years, or you're going to get rid of it and kick yourself for spending that much money. Make sense? Okay, I think that's everything about posture. Any questions about posture? No, very good. All right, it's Dr. Pierce. Until next time.
All right. Thank you very much.